Now, one of the most anticipated titles on gamers' wishlist for a long time now has been Grand Theft Auto 6. Rumors have been flying around about what we can expect to see in it ever since the release of GTA 5, and now with work starting to ramp up on the title, it looks like we might finally get some concrete information on what to expect when it hits the shelves. So be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell, because today we're going to look at 8 Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks that should blow you away. Number 1. The release date. GTA 6 is said to have been in development since as far back as 2014, which has meant a long wait for its patient fans, but thankfully it looks as though they needn't wait much longer as the game's release is finally near. Reddit leaks have suggested everything from a 2020 to 2025 release, but one that may have a bit more truth to it came from an Australian video game retailer, Gameware, who listed the new Grand Theft Auto title on their website as being released this year. What makes this particularly interesting is that Gameware have correctly leaked release dates for games such as Devil May Cry 5 and Need for Speed Heat in the past, way before any official statements were made by the respective developers. It would seem to tie into other information put out there by an anonymous Rockstar tester who said that the game was pegged for a late 2020, early 2021 release, and this also kind of adds up when we take into account the average 7 to 8 year development cycle for a new Rockstar game, so it's looking more and more likely that it won't be far away now. Number 2. Next Gen Exclusivity. The same anonymous Rockstar tester who leaked the 2020-2021 release date for Grand Theft Auto 6 also said that the game would be out exclusively on next-gen consoles, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet. This ties into what other leakers have suggested, and to be honest, it's what we expected anyway. It may be disappointing to those who are holding on to their current gen consoles for the time being, but if Rockstar want the game to be as good as it possibly can be, then releasing it on the most powerful hardware and not having to worry about downscaling it for the previous generation is a must. Interestingly, this lends more fuel to the fire over the game's release date, as it is heavily rumoured that the PlayStation 5 will be released sometime this year, with the Xbox Scarlet no doubt not far behind. Number 3. Location. Ever since the release of GTA 5, there's been lots of speculation on where the next game in the series will be set, with much of its discussion focusing on a potential return to Vice City. Well, according to recent leaks, it looks as though this may be true after all. A letter sent to a Florida store by Rockstar asking to inspect their premises confirms that the developers have been scouting the area, presumably to use as inspiration for an updated Vice City, just as the original Vice City was inspired by Miami and the rest of the Sunshine State. The Project America's leak, the title of which comes from a reported codename for the game, hit Twitter last year and claimed to have knowledge that the next GTA title would take place in an updated version of Vice City, as well as having sections that played out in Cuba and the Caribbean islands. There have also been subsequent Reddit leaks which claim that certain missions will see players returning to Liberty City, and this appears to be backed up by a Glassdoor review left by an unfortunately disgruntled ex-employee of Rockstar, which means that they have been working on GTA LS, VC, and LC. Well, the sleuths among you can probably figure out that this likely means Los Santos, Vice City, and Liberty City, so it looks like we're going to be getting an absolute huge game by the end of all this. Number 4. The map. While we're on the subject of GTA 6's location, further leaks also look like they've revealed what the game's map will look like. It's been said that not only will the map be gargantuan in size, quite a bit larger than even Red Dead Redemption's huge game world, but also that the layout will see swamps set out to the left middle of the world, with the main city in the center and a big island, possibly the previously mentioned Cuba or Caribbean islands down to the far bottom right. This further lends us to believe the leaks about a Vice City return, as swamplands would most closely be associated with the deep south of Florida. It also means that with the exception of GTA's original London expansion pack, it would mark the first time the series has ventured outside of the United States if they are indeed going to Cuba or the Caribbean. Number 5. Changing environments. According to a number of different leaks, it looks as though Grand Theft Auto 6 will see a big change to the series in terms of it taking place over a much larger period of time than before. Information released on Reddit has stated that this will be similar to Red Dead Redemption 2's Passage of Time, where we get to see our characters and their world change over the course of the seasons. Further speculation arises from a job posting listed from Rockstar, who are looking to hire a character costume and wardrobe stylist with an obsessive eye for detail and drapery in respects of garments of all types, and an acute awareness of how fabrics and materials age and degrade over time. Based on this, it looks like we're going to see wear and tear develop over the world's architecture as well as the characters' clothes as the game progresses. This would be a level of detail we've never really seen in a GTA game before, and further confirms that the game will likely be a next-gen release if the hardware is to keep up with this. Number 6. Time period and inspirations. The previously mentioned Project America's leaks seem to confirm that Grand Theft Auto 6 will, similarly to the last time we were in Vice City, be taking place in the past. The leakers claims that the game will be set in both the 70s and 80s, which is further evidence to our last point about the story taking place over a longer period. The particular leak also mentioned that the developers at Rockstar were taking inspiration for the game's general feel and story from the brilliant Netflix original series Narcos, which follows the rise and fall of the notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar in its early seasons. This would tie into the reports about the game having sections set in South America, as well as using the cocaine capital of the US, Miami, as inspiration for the game's main setting, Vice City. It should also be mentioned that the name Project Americas has been found in the game files for Red Dead Redemption 2, and does indeed appear to be a legitimate codename for the new GTA title, so it gives all this info a lot more credibility. Number 7. Gameplay mechanics. One Reddit leak has claimed that Rockstar won't be trying to remake the wheel with Grand Theft Auto 6, and that the gameplay mechanics will remain largely the same as they have in previous titles in terms of how your character controls. This leak does not, however, note that there will be a lot of refining taking place, so it should play a lot smoother. To be honest, the gameplay in GTA has never been much of a complaint, with the possible exception of the shooting mechanics, but if they are indeed working on refining things, perhaps this will be improved upon this time around. One thing that is going to change about the larger gameplay of the world is the weather. It's been reported by the very same leaker that this time around, GTA will be trying to use the full power of the next-gen consoles by including dynamic weather events that will happen over the course of the game and will even alter parts of the landscape. Now, we're not just talking about rain and snow here either. It seems that natural disasters like hurricanes, floods and lightning strikes will happen, and that they will be incorporated into the game's story too. This would be an easy way to close off certain sections of the map at various points and could potentially result in some very unique mission possibilities. It also speculates the idea of the game being set in the deep south of Florida, as these extreme weather conditions are certainly more commonplace than other parts of the world. And number 8. Some miscellaneous things. Lastly, there's a couple of other notable pieces of information that have come out of recent leaks which maybe don't deserve an entry all of their own, but merit mentioning anyway. It's been said that GTA 6 will feature 8K upscaling for those lucky enough to own an 8K television, and will also use the increasingly popular ray tracing. This is something else which suggests a next-gen exclusive release, as these things wouldn't really be achievable on current consoles. As well as this, it looks as though the game will continue on with a popular part of Grand Theft Auto 5 by having multiple different endings, 3 to be precise. We're definitely up for this, as it adds a little more replayability to the title, but as if we ever needed an excuse to play more GTA. But there you have it guys, 8 Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks that should blow people away. Have you heard about these rumors? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more video game content.